Every 4 weeks, 6% of New Zealand adults experience mental stress or other more troubling physiological issues. Young adults have a higher chance of experiencing physiological disorders. However, older people are more likely of getting a diagnosis than young adults, showing many teens will go undiagnosed for years. In New Zealand, men's suicide rates are 3 times higher than women's. Compare this to the data that women are diagnosed 1.6 times more often with a mental illness than males. Comparatively, these stats have a negative correlation. We would expect men's diagnosis rates to be higher due to higher suicide rates, or perhaps women have lower rates as they have higher diagnosis rates, and therefore there are more preventative methods put in place for them.
So, Mr. McKinlay, we understand that stress is becoming a big issue in schools today, and I noticed that you have picked up in your role as counsellor at Wanganui. Can you describe to us what kind of influences that are causing kids to stress?
One of the main causes of stress that we find in our students is academics. Students are stressed from their NCEA exams as well as the pressure from both their parents and teachers to achieve scholarships.
What about outside peer pressure? We know social media is becoming apparent. We know that we have a high teenage suicide rate. In fact, New Zealand is really bad for that. What about social media's influence on kids?
We find that social media has a massive stress factor on our students. There's pressure from their peers to...
So are you able to please tell us some of the ways you get stressed as a teenager?
Oh, there's lots of stress in my life. Number one would be academics. Mum and Dad want me to do really well at school. They want me to go to university and get my university entrance. So that means I have to pass my level 3 NCEA exams, which I'm doing this year. Still about 30 credits off, but we'll see. Along with that is all the homework. We have so much homework, it's ridiculous. What else? There's the extracurricular. I am one of the first 15 in the soccer team, captain, woohoo! And we're going to win this year, but it does involve 3 trainings a week and a game a week, as well as the tournaments away, which eats up a lot of my time. And that way I can't go to all the parties that my friends go to. You know, they've all got boyfriends. I'd like a boyfriend, but do you think I can get one? No. My schedule, too busy, can't do it. It's too much social pressure. It causes a lot of stress when I can't hang out with my friends.
What about the pressures of trying to be perfect and the social media pressures of watching the Kardashians and things like that?
Oh, it is really difficult trying to be perfect. I think as much as people say, students say they don't want to be perfect, we all do. You want to be the best, you've got that competitive drive. Social media, it's really hard seeing everyone else's successes put all over social media. I feel like I constantly have to update mine with photos and videos of things that I'm doing awesome at, but there's always that challenge from other people.
Now, I understand at your school that you have things such as stress cards that give you the ability to leave a lesson when you are feeling stressed or worked up about something. Do you use those often?
I do use them, especially as it's coming into exams. They're really helpful. So you just put the card on the teacher's desk and you walk out. It's just for when we're feeling a bit overwhelmed. Stress is a really big factor, especially with these high stakes exams for university and things. So it's a really helpful system they have in place for us.
Do you think your mum or grandma felt these kind of stresses maybe 20 or 30 years ago?
Grandma? Grandma doesn't get stressed about anything. No, we've talked about it, and they did have high stakes exams back then, but they didn't have all this other stuff going on. I mean, I get bombarded by texts every night from my friends, come out, hang out, do this. You know, back in those days, it took a week to send a letter, so they wouldn't get it. So I don't think they know what the stresses are like. Mum and Dad definitely don't understand my Facebook, that's for sure.
Awesome, well thank you so much for your time.
If not controlled, stress can lead to more serious mental health issues such as anxiety. Externally, students can show symptoms such as trembling, headaches, upset stomachs, breathing irregularities, the sweats, and heart palpitations. Anxiety is often described as overthinking or the inability to stop thinking about an outcome. The internal symptoms are far worse. The brain floods itself with irrational stress, fear, and apprehension about a situation. It is like a brain explosion. The constant thoughts are often negative and include jumping to the worst case scenario. The mind is constantly on edge. It's similar to a ticking time bomb. Anxiety ranges in its severity. Most people will experience short bursts of anxiety in relevant situations in their lives. However, it can range right up to debilitating, making everyday tasks a huge challenge. A traffic light is a great metaphor for anxiety. People who do not suffer from it operate on a green light and flicker up into yellow and red when a real threat is presented to them. Those with anxiety operate on the yellow light on a daily basis and flick to red when even the smallest challenge is presented to them. Alongside this, people with anxiety are often left with feelings of restlessness, irritability, tense, edgy, and panicked. It can be a struggle to reach for help for people with anxiety. The feeling of being judged can be too much, especially for those suffering social anxiety. Fear clogs the mind and stops anyone with anxiety in their tracks. It is the fear of the unknown, the fear of what's to come, the fear of judgment by others. Thus, anxiety can lead people and our students to dangerous crutches such as alcohol and smoking. The question for teachers is, how do we recognise and help our students suffering from anxiety?
New Zealand has the highest teen suicide rate, that is among people aged 15 to 24. Even with mental health being the third biggest health issue in New Zealand, third only to cancer and vascular disorders, there still isn't enough about it learned among people ages 15 to 24, especially in secondary schools. Teen depression can cause irritability, lack of motivation, lower attendance rates, mood swings, and lower achievement among those who have it. School systems are often ill-equipped to diagnose, and as many as 80% of teenagers go about undiagnosed, due to a lack of knowledge about the illness, stigma around the illness, and the inability to get a proper diagnosis. In an interview with an anonymous participant who went through the mental health system as a teen with depression, they said that they were treated promptly with medication, but it still took quite a while to be treated with the right kind of therapy, recounting that she was first put through multiple tests, such as cognitive behavioral therapy, where she was taught to develop personal coping strategies. However, this treatment didn't come about until a major eye-opening event made Anonymous and everyone else around them aware of their mental state and need for treatment. And this is often the case with teens, where they keep their issues to themselves until it reaches a point where they or those around them are worried about their well-being and realize they need to seek treatment.
I'd say that there is still a general lack of understanding among teachers, especially teachers who have no personal experience with mental health issues themselves, such as family members or friends. I want them to have more compassion and more understanding for things they don't understand. We have a lot of students here with anxiety, and they should just empathise with them instead of critiquing. I put it down to the genuine relationships. It really goes a long way between students and teachers when those relationships are genuine. Some of them may not have a relationship like that at home, and sometimes their teacher is the most important adult in their lives.